everybody, hello. I'm gonna give it about 30 seconds before we start, and I'm gonna pop off. I'm gonna wait till we have about 300 people in here, which we usually do pretty quickly, I must say. And we'll start today. It's been a while since I've been live. I just wanted to touch base with you guys about what was going on and why I was away for so long. I'll take these stupid glasses off. So here's some crazy shit for those of y'all who don't know. A couple of weeks ago, I caught COVID. Now this is the second time that I ever had COVID. I haven't talked about this, although because people just generally don't ask me. But it was interesting. The first time that I ever had this was probably in January of 2020. And man, I was shivering, cold and all this. This time was definitely a lot, I'm not going to say better, but it definitely, the effects of COVID were much, much less on me. So I'm doing a lot better. I'm strong. I don't have a lot of long-term things. I feel tough. So I feel definitely much better, ready to get back in the lab. And I feel like the second time around, it didn't hit me as hard. So I'm feeling revitalized. I'm feeling good. Started working out again. And you know what I mean? Definitely want to get myself to the same place I was before in terms of physical fitness. So I'm on a mission now. Work out every day. For those of you who don't know, man, I judge weed contests. I know I don't smoke live with y'all, and every time they have a weed festival, they invite the same people, right? But they never invite me, even though I could probably smoke most cats under a table. But, had to cut that off and then started exercising and everything. But what it did give me a chance to do was read up on the war in Ukraine and everything that's going on there now. And I think for those of you who didn't see it, today, George Bush was giving a speech, and he talked about Vladimir Putin, and he said a one man's wholly wrong decision to invade another country brutally. And then he said Iraq. Oh, I mean Ukraine. And I thought about this for a second. And I said this in the comments, but I'm gonna re-say it for those people who didn't see the last post that I made. When the war in Ukraine started, there were a lot of racist journalists, people with really bad takes. Maybe they were just stupid. Maybe they weren't racist, but they were saying things like, oh, this isn't like Iraq or Syria. This is happening here in civilized Europe. Let's go with that for a second. You dogs were right. This isn't like Iraq or Syria. You know why? Because 45 nations attacked Iraq. And it's now Russia versus 12 different countries pumping proxy war stuff into the Ukraine. I watched a Russian tank roll over and kill an old Ukrainian man on television. Regular TV, not cable. No, regular fucking ABC, CBS. I watched them run over a fucking old man. And I was disgusted and hurt. And I said, you know what? I'm even more disgusted and hurt now because I can't imagine how many American tanks have run over Iraqi people, right? And they didn't tell us anything. They show us again and again and again atrocities of what happened. And as a matter of fact, I will say one other thing. You people know me. I'm against all war that is useless and ridiculous. And this war should stop. But good God, you showed us 100 images already of what's happened in the Ukraine, and you couldn't show us one thing. As a matter of fact, you put people in jail. Hold on. We got 650 people in here now. You put people in jail for showing the American public what was going on in Iraq and Afghanistan. You called it WikiLeaks, right? But it wasn't just WikiLeaks. There were so many other reporters People who destroyed their journalistic careers, who were incarcerated, who were kicked off CNN, Fox, MSNBC, all these major stations now because they reported on what was actually happening. You think that people weren't raped in Iraq? You think that people weren't trafficked in Iraq? You think that tanks didn't run over people? You think that someone didn't shoot up a store? You didn't think that people didn't get murdered over there? And they won't show us anything. Nothing. They won't even show us the dead body of the troops that came from America. Every time they shot down the helicopter, because I had people that were there, you know what they said? We had another helicopter crash. You can't even say that they shot them out the fucking sky when that's exactly what happened. You know how hurt I am about this when I see this double standard? Although I will say this, it's very hard for me to tell people to stop fighting. But I wholly believe that the United States has no positive agenda in the Ukraine. I think that the United States has found an anvil. I think that to the United States and to NATO, Ukraine is simply an anvil that they think they can hit Russia on. So they don't actually care about the Ukrainian people. They know that there will be no infrastructure left in the country. All those areas that are being bombed and destroyed, there will be no infrastructure left in the country. They don't care. They just want to give them another Vietnam, another Afghanistan, another war that expends their resources. They're going to let them die. They're going to kill all those people just so they can cost Russia some money. And that's some fucked up shit, man. Because people that are really posting on this, right, that have understood that this war has been going on for since 2013. So we're talking about 10 years of war already almost. And it's sad because, you know, the only way out is for there to find some peace now. But they're using the Ukraine like a pawn. And as much weapons as they're giving people, they know that that's not a war that they can actually win. You know, if the Russians, I always say this now, the Russians are just starting to put in the new weapons that they have now, right? If they wanted to, they could have taken the country with no remorse and they could have done carpet bombing like the Americans did in Iraq, but they didn't. They're being accused of using white phosphorus, whereas Israel has used white phosphorus for 30 years. This is what I'm saying. I saw it on the news. They said, oh my God, Russia has used white phosphorus. Then all the comments underneath, it's off YouTube. They turn all the comments off on YouTube. Underneath all the comments on YouTube, you know what it said? It said white phosphorus was used in 1996 in Israel. It was white phosphorus was used in 2004. White phosphorus was used. Yes, cluster bombs were used at this time. So they turned off all the comments. Let me tell you a story. When I was in Afghanistan, I went to a place called Panjshir Valley, a place where foreigners are not usually welcome. But I was welcomed there by the family of Shah Massoud. And you know what I saw on the road to Panjshir Valley? I say this all the time. I saw wrecked Taliban trucks. I saw old British armored personnel carrier halfway blown apart, just left there. I saw a Russian tank, right? From like 1970 some shit, just left there. And I walked into the tank and I sat there and there was a hole in the floor of a tank, big as a wheel of cheese. And it looked like the metal had just melted. There was some kind of giant explosive underneath. And I looked up and I saw like black all over the top. And I realized, oh, that's not just smoke. That's old coagulated blood. And I sat in that tank for a while. And I thought about how that Russian dude's mom, her pain is no different than the mom of a kid that came from God knows where in California or Oklahoma or Chicago or, you know what I mean, or New York, that died in Iraq or Afghanistan. For what? For what? A country that had nothing to do with 9/11. And yet 45 countries attacked it. I want to say something else very important. I've seen over the years that on MSNBC and other channels that they invite people who were individuals who were part of the Iraq War and were like the brainchild behind that. And simply because these conservatives are opposed to Trump, they're allowed to be there and flourish. I've seen them on Ari Melber's show and other people's shows. And I just want to say to those individuals and the people that put them on, here's my problem with that. The only reason that you can put them on there, and I have a lot of Muslim fans, and I'm saying this from the heart, is because their victims were mostly Muslim, right? Do you think that people could be up there? Do you think I could be on TV if I killed 250,000 Christians? If I was responsible for the death of 250,000 Christian people? I'll do you one better. If I was responsible for the death of 250,000 Jewish people, could I be on late night TV pretending like it's all good? But since you killed 250,000 Muslims, you get a pass. And now you get to be on a liberal TV show simply because you're opposed to a chump like Mr. Trump. Whenever I hear that someone has left the Democratic Party for the Republican Party, I'm not impressed. You didn't take the red pill from the Matrix. You took the red pill from Total Recall. You gave up sniffing cocaine for shooting heroin. You've accomplished nothing. When people realize that the two-party system is a joke and that it's been used to oppress people, and that the right embraces the far right and the left, fake left, Democrats, fight hardest against the left of their party, then you begin to wake up. Then you've actually taken a red pill. The right wing, let's do that again. After 9/11, all politics moved to the right. So whereas Elon Musk and the rest of prominent conservatives say the left has gone crazy, no, that's just because they have a very short memory. After 9/11, all politics moved to the right. That means people who were left are now center. People who were right, far right. They kind of moved in. Those individuals who were centrists, now they are considered leftists. Those people who were right-wingers are considered centrists. The people who were far right are considered part of the establishment far right. Do you understand now? And for people who are in the comments, I don't look at the comments, but I'm clicking them on now, and someone talked about socialism. Fuck socialism. What are you talking about, dude? We've had socialism in this country for years. Socialism for the rich, right? You call it lobbying. It's just bribery, you dumb motherfucker. You call it government subsidies. That's just socialism for the rich. That's giving people money to create jobs. Oh, we're the government. We're a capitalist government. We don't create jobs. Yeah, you do. You pay other countries to create jobs. Let me explain the American economy for people that love this country so much. America is like a lemonade stand, right? Them little white kids don't know what the fuck that lemonade cost, right? They got their folks to give them lemons, right? They gave them water. They're not paying the water bill. They bought sugar. They mixed it all up in a glass container that they didn't buy. The American economy is a lemonade stand. Do you understand me? A fucking lemonade stand. They don't know the cost of what it really costs. None of these companies. If they were forced to actually run at cost, they wouldn't be running. Fuck is wrong with y'all? And then you want to blame immigrants. Then you got the white working class people so scared that you want to blame immigrants. You know what? I'm going to say something. There's a brother on Twitter called Lakota Man. And he said something really, really great. He said, you know, this whole thing about replacement theory that white conservatives are so screaming about, replacement theory. He said, you know what's so sad and pathetic about that? He said, that's just a theory. What about the practice of indigenous replacement? Huh? What about all those communities that you ethnically cleansed in this country so you could build a strip mall and a fucking Walmart? Fucking play with me. Don't you ever fucking play with me. Do you know who the fuck I am? Don't you people ever play with me like that. Don't you dare try to deflect a lie. Don't you dare try to hide the truth from me. You think what? Because we grew up in the hood and because we grew up without $1 million shit that we're all ignorant people? No. No, we average, ordinary people. We've been watching and learning. We've seen what you've done. I'm sorry for all the cursing and swearing. I'm a person who is affected by these things because I see how many individuals have been led astray, how many people have been lied to. We're going to have more conflicts because there's no other way for this country to maintain its status in the world. And unfortunately, more people will die. The war in the Ukraine will continue. Why? Because they found what they wanted now. And there will always be a double standard with those refugees. The bullets that kill people from cartels and drug dealing groups and gangs in Central America are no different than the bullets that are killing Ukrainian people now. As a matter of fact, if conservatives were really as smart as they think they are, they would point out that the migrant crisis and the rise in violence was caused in part by a program that Obama started called Fast and Furious. For people who aren't aware what Fast and Furious is, let me break this down. The Obama administration gave surplus Pentagon hardware, meaning weapons of war from Iraq and Afghanistan, like machine guns, like 50 cal, shit like that, with tracer tags on them that they could then trace and find the people who were buying these guns. Of course, the cartel people bought the guns, right? They found the tracers, took them off, and used them to massacre people. The operation was a total fiasco, a fucking disaster, and it caused more death and more violence. But instead of blaming the weapons companies, what did conservatives do? Right? They picked a fight with women and children running away, and they painted them as violent invaders. The only people who violently invaded this country were Europeans, who were plague-ridden, flea-dirty people that came off a fucking boat in the 1500s and started raping and killing. Those people weren't immigrants. They were rapists and murderers, right? Ellis Island didn't open up in 1492, you dumb motherfuckers. That shit opened up in the late 1800s, in 1899. You're not a fucking immigrant. Oh, my family came here in the 1600s. Yeah, I know. To steal people and steal land and rape women. Fuck your family, huh? To all the 827 people in here, fuck your family. That's what you gotta tell them. Oh, you've been here since way back then? Well, we know what you came here for then, right? Right? You want to know the sad thing? Look up the laws in medieval Europe. Look up the laws in medieval Spain and France and England for rape or murder. You know what they are? If you raped a woman in Spain, in medieval Spain, they gelded you. They took your dick and your balls off root and stem with a clamp. If you did that in England, same thing. But the reason they called us non-humans is so people could get away with doing that here. I'm sorry to interrupt your day with this, you know. I'm going to look in here and I'm going to see what kind of comments and questions. I'll take them for about 5 minutes. I'll try to be quick. All right. Outside looking in looks like a civil war coming to America. One thing I want to explain to people is if America has a civil war, China and Russia will inherit the world. They are the only winners of a civil war in the United States. Also, for all my friends that are pro-military or pro-America, remember, half of America can't beat a whole of another country, right? So as long as you're divided and you think liberals are all cancer or you think that conservatives are all Nazis, then you can't win anything. You understand? Cool. Gotcha. When will the middle passage drop? I could show you the artwork now. I could play you 10 songs, but you know, there's a couple of legal things that I got to handle and stuff, that paperwork I got to get right. And I guarantee you I will make a post about that and give you an update. And I appreciate you guys for sticking with me. I know that I've been promising you this record for so long, but believe me, I will deliver it before I die. And I'll give it to you guys and you'll understand. Who gave me this hat? Nems gave me this hat. Are you a Marxist? No, I'm not a Zionist. Or a Marxist. But those ideologies are very connected for people that don't know. Respect Tech, I'm a veteran, I agree with you. A lot of my friends are veterans, brother, and they came back from war with a totally different perception of what actually happened there, right? Love you, Tech. Miss seeing your live shows. I'll be back, my brother. Chicano history books or anything having to do with Central America. The Caste War of the Yucatan is a great book. I probably already recommended it. Someone wrote, do you see the world dominated by Russia and China in our lifetime? Well, if we have a civil war, then it may be in the end of the lifetime of the people that are living here now. I should do a duet with Lupe Fiasco. A duet? What, like the Shy Lights? Like a singing duet? Or you mean like a collaboration? He said, we live on the air 98.9 FM Twin Cities. Call in. Man, shout to 98.9 FM in Twin Cities. Tour dates. I'll be in LA on July 22nd. I haven't announced it yet, but I'll be in LA on July 22nd. I'll see you motherfuckers there. What do you think about the president of El Salvador and what he's doing with the country? Look, he's a darling of right-wingers here, so we already know where he leans, although he'll claim that he's some middle-of-the-road guy, liberal, Democrat, whatever. You got to understand, I'm a person like Luke Skywalker. I believe in saving people. I think people are redeemable. I think, obviously, I have no sympathy for child molesters and rapists, but as long as you a gang member, you did some fucked up shit, man, you be, as long as you ain't do that, you be really rehabilitated, man. What's the most favorite song you wrote? Too many. Is it a fake UFO invasion? Fake UFOs? You think? Oh, that was a theory. Yeah. People said that in the book "Behold a Pale Horse." That's where that theory comes from. In a book by I think I have it over here. I'll show it to you guys. The book is called "Behold a Pale Horse," right? I think in that book is where you first got that particular theory, that the government would use UFOs or the invasion of UFOs as a justification to launch a worldwide totalitarian system. I don't know if that's true, brother. If that's what you're asking and speaking on, yeah, that's from a book. That's from Behold a Pale Horse. That's why he said that. Right. Just important to contextualize these things. That doesn't come from like a history book or anything else. That comes from that particular thing. William Cooper. Yes, thank you very much. Tech can't come to Canada, but if you hit Seattle, I'll roll. I'm actually negotiating shows in Canada this year. Hopefully Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. If it happens, it'll be an incredible thing. Someone said, debate Caleb Maupin on Marxism. We follow each other. What am I going to debate him on? How great capitalism is? It's an abysmal failure, my brother. Capitalism has already failed 3 times in this country. Those were 2 bailouts, right? And now with the third bailout during Biden's administration, the $1 trillion plan. You know how many airlines would have gone under at the end of Bush, beginning of Obama, without the bailouts? Come on. Listen, whenever a capitalist country fails, they blame the regime. Whenever a communist country fails, they blame the system. Both systems are archaic, right? Communism needs an update. Socialism needs an update. And capitalism is a Ponzi scheme that was invented in England in the 15th century, 16th century. So, the fuck? Why are they obsessed with going to Mars? What if I reframe that question for you? Why are they obsessed with going back to Mars? Do you believe in what? You think about running as a candidate. Oh, man. No, not right now. Do I think Whoopi is pretty? Whoopi is a beautiful person. Listen, I said a lot of crazy things in freestyles back in the day. Come on, bro. Please consider having a show in South Africa. I would love to come to South Africa. I would love to come back there. I got to see it before the world ends. What do you think is in the little door that they found on Mars? I told you, it's not about going there. It's about going back there. If you read old like Sumerian text, it claims that the Anunnaki seeded many worlds. It wasn't specific about how many they did in this universe. Some people think that's what the basis of Prometheus and those Ridley Scott movies are, right? Anyway, man, I've been on here for about a half hour, and I really appreciate the love and the support. Do you believe in the dome, aka the firmament? Oh, you mean the idea that we live in this Truman Show shit? It's possible. Listen, it's an interesting theory that we live in a situation or what they call a mirrored reality, right? That all around us is some kind of field or something that blocks the ability for us to see or look into space and be able to see other civilizations. That's what you mean by that. I don't know. But if aliens have that kind of technology, how would we even know it exists, right? Anyway, I appreciate the love that you guys have and the support that I've been getting. We had 850 people in here tonight, almost 900 at some point. Now we're about 800. Someone asked me about a book to read, and I was showing someone this book today. And I'm going to tell you why I showed them this book. I only show my most gifted students this book. The Prince by Machiavelli. Now, I want to explain some things about this thing. Because sometimes when I show people this and I say, do you know who Machiavelli is? The little kids say, yeah. He wrote Hail Mary. You know what I mean? He was making music with Tupac, and I'm laughing like, no. I always thought Machiavelli was a prince when I was a kid. I always thought he was a king or he was a great ruler. But Machiavelli was a collection of failures in his life, okay? Machiavelli lost his position. He was outplayed by the Medici and the Pope. But he was a genius in the sense that he understood his flaws and failures. And even though he wasn't the most powerful person in his time, right? A lot of the things that he wrote in here were observations, and you can only learn from failure. And his work outdated all of the people that he lived with, right? So he understood the balance of power, the things that measured when to attack as opposed to when to consolidate your forces, right? And I think that for me, love the book. And I think it's also important because it shows people that an interesting fact is that some people aren't as successful as they are in life. They just lived a regular life and they were willing to put it out and make sure that individuals knew about the balance of power in any society, in any system. But I think one thing that's really interesting about ancient Italy that is connected to like sport fighting. And I think someone reminded me that on Twitter today that when I was on the Joe Rogan show, maybe like I want to say almost 12, 15 years ago, I went on Joe Rogan, like when he was still with Red Band in the basement and shit. And we were talking about just that. We were talking about how like fighting sports were born out of Rome's servile wars. So Rome had conscription, right? And which is something that Machiavelli predicted all nations would adopt eventually. But Rome had conscription. That's another reason why he's famous, actually. He predicted that all countries would go to conscription. And America didn't stop conscription until Muhammad Ali. So he was right for about 435 years. But what's interesting is that when you examine this time period and when you look at the things that were achieved, and when we started talking about this on the Rogan show, the Romans hated conscription in the Republic. And when they conscripted all of these people, right, 2 or 3 like entire regions of the Roman Republic refused to fight for Rome. Refused, said, I'm not fighting in any more of your fucking wars. Fuck this shit. We don't want anything to do with that. And you know what happened? The Romans invaded the southern part of their own country. They killed the leaders of those places, right? And then they made the survivors fight each other to the death. And that's how gladiatorial combat was born. That is the birth of gladiatorial combat in the modern world. That's the last lesson I got for you today. So the next time they ask you about that, you can look up Rome's servile wars, right? Yeah, I heard Skrelly's in the halfway house. Hey, man, I don't want nobody in jail, bro, except people who fucking deserve to be there. Love you guys. I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you, and I love you, and I hope that that you're focused in life. And I want you guys to remember something. A lot of you are arrogant and you think you're so much smarter than people. And some of you are grounded and you think, oh, okay, I know what I know. But just remember this, that a fool with a plan beats a genius with no plan 999 times out of 1,000. I'm going to say that again for you people that are watching. A fool with a plan beats a genius with no plan 999 times out of 1,000. Please remember that last one, okay? Get yourself a plan, stick to it, and make it happen. I love you guys. My name is Immortal Technique. Love you, appreciate you. And if you tell me where you're from, I give you a shout out before I get the fuck out of here. Okay? Please tell me where you're from, and I'll shout you out. Thank you, Chantilly Lace. Thank you, Sherrod Kitty. Thank you, Archivist. Appreciate you. J-Tep. Let me know where you're from, and I'll give you guys a shout out. Albuquerque in the building. Peace. Albany, New York. Love. Chicago. Peace. Madera, California. Oh, the Rez is in the building. Hartford, Connecticut. Stockholm, Sweden. SLC. Nice to hear from you. Oh, LA is in the building. Richmond, Virginia. The Philippines is here. Want to send a special shout out, to the people of Buffalo. Yes. We're going to do something about that next time. I think we definitely need to talk about that because it's part of the other discussion we had about how the right embraces their extreme, whereas the left in this country, fake left, consistently fights against their extreme. So rest in peace to all the people at Buffalo. We love you, Buffalo, New York. Shout to Trujillo. Shout to TJ. Shout to Matamoros, Washington, D.C., Karachi, Whittier, California, Callao in Peru, Canada, South Africa. We love you. I appreciate you. And I'll speak to you guys soon. Thank you. This is Immortal Technique. And you've been dancing with the devil. But I'm not the devil. I am I am a child of God, come to tell you the truth. And come to cut in to get you to stop dancing with the devil, okay? I love you guys, man. I appreciate you. Have a nice night. Peace. Oh, where are my glasses? I'll show y'all my glasses before I go. I tell you the truth, every time I put these fucking things on, the average rainfall of the Amazon basin. Yo, I feel crazy with these fucking things on. I love y'all, but I can't. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being with me. Yeah, I'm good now. Peace.